For my first one.
Oh, how long ago was that?
I think I started, must be 3.5, 4 years ago now, something like that. But not too long.
About around when I did also then. I think I was a year later, 2023 or something.
Grab my notepad.
Yeah, so I think maybe, around that sort of 22, 23 mark, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Goes so quick, though.
It does.
It actually, it's a bit like watching your kids grow up. By the time you look back over everything you've achieved, and you think, shit, where did that time go?
Yeah, exactly.
There's still some of the, like, you know, when you've got your favourite, you have that grow that really sort of like marks it on your calendar for you. And when you look back, you think, shit, was it that long ago?
It's one of these pans. I got a little pan pin growing out of a cap. That's growing on top of another one. Love it when they do that.
Wow.
Yeah, what I think happens is a piece of the casing or substrate is on the cap as it pushes through, and then so it has mycelium in it, and that little tiny piece of dirt fruits a mushroom on top of the cap of that one. It's pretty funny.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I call them piggybackers.
Man, every time I've heard the term piggybacker, it's always in regards to like piggyback contaminations.
Ooh.
Scary term for me. Well, we're here. We're at 2:00. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm sure some people will roll in as we get going. How you doing, brother? Thanks for joining us today and doing this.
Yeah, man, of course.
Super appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is awesome. You guys are doing this.
Yeah, it's a learning process. I think we're all kind of learning as we go and refining it as we go. But it's headed in a good direction.
I think it's good. I think we're getting to know the people behind the name. Not just
love that.
Yeah.
That's what I like about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Gives everybody that little bit more understanding to who they're getting their genetics from, and obviously what you're about, where you're from, how you got where you are. That's what I like about the journey.
Yeah, and all the different perspectives. Like Q talked about something with his bags where he to get it to start pinning, he pushes air out of it. I'd never heard of that before. While we're in this thing, I went back to some of my bags and I did that, and then a few days later it was pins. I was like, holy smokes, Q's a wizard.
Oh yeah. It's awesome. Well, dude, on that, and learning about all you guys and giving you guys all kind of that opportunity to share kind of who's behind the name. Let's get started. How'd you get started with the mycology stuff? Was it just how'd you get started with it?
So some people were already here earlier. So it was about 3 years ago around this time. But if anyone read the thing, I did 25 years in the military. 21 of it was active duty. And we do these urinalysis. Thanks. We do these drug tests all the time, and some of us have to go through training to administer these tests. And part of the training, you learn about the various substances and whatnot. And I found it pretty interesting. The person that had been teaching this class for maybe 5 years at that time, when she brought up the magic mushrooms, I didn't even know what psilocybin was. I didn't even know that word even existed. I just knew it was magic mushrooms. Started talking about microdosing, and she kind of went off on tangent. And I been to 2 of her classes. She always went off on a tangent about how, like her own research, how helpful mushrooms can be for us in the military, PTSD, depression, mental health stuff. She always went off on a side tangent and said it's such an awesome thing, and it sucks that we can't take this. And fast forwarding maybe several months after that last one I ran into my brother at a Walmart in the area. He got talking to me about mushrooms also, and he's like, when you get out, we got to do this, that, and the other. And he's like, hey, I got this chocolate bar thing, and I can show you how to like chop it up into microdose pieces or whatever. So got that from him next day, and then started doing that microdosing. It's about 2022, something like that. And I don't want to say it was like immediate, but I found myself in these stressful situations or situations where I got to make quick decisions. It was easy for me. Like I was in charge of 46 something instructors at this course I was managing. I always had to put out fires. And I felt like, bring it on. I can handle this. Just bring it all on. So I was super interested. I'm like, I don't want to have to get another one of these. I want to start growing it myself. So hopped online, did a lot of research, got started in it, and did the all-in-one bags with the sport syringes, which I later learned that the LC syringes were much better. But I was running these all-in-one bags for not nowhere near to the extent of how much I have now going on, but maybe about 3 bags at a time. And when they were ready, I always cut them out, put them in a tub with some perlite on top of some foil, did like a shotgun fruiting chamber. And that was one video on YouTube I found was just that. And I stuck to that for like a year. When the block was ready to fruit, I cut it out, take it out of the bag, put it in the shotgun fruiting chamber. So I had, at most, I think I had maybe 6 tubs just scattered about the floor in this extra spare room we got. And fast forward a year later, I started buying shelves and then a table to work with. Then I got to get a bigger table. Oh, I need a flow hood now. Yeah, and it just kind of went from there.
Snowball.
And yeah, I wouldn't say it stemmed from a big mushroom dose or anything like that, or childhood foraging. Never did any of that kind of stuff. I'm way into it now. MRL season just ended. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, I had taken them before. First time was probably about 2005. And thinking back to that experience, I don't think they were mushrooms. It seemed more like an LSD trip. But wow. I think life experiences made it to what I experience now versus 20 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a party thing anymore. Any of that, yeah.
I feel that. I'm the same way with that.
So when you was microdosing, when you started doing it and you said it just made everything easier, was it just that whole thought process just managed to slow everything down? That's what I find it does for me.
Yeah, most definitely. I haven't thought about it that way, but that makes a lot of sense.
I think so. I'm similar in the way that I was military, and I got started.
Oh, nice.
With
thank you for your service.
Thank you. Yeah. So always, as soon as I said that to you, I was like, man, that's a hard thing to answer. I don't ever know what the hell to say when someone says that.
After Iraq in 2003, people would be like, "Oh, thank you for your service," and I'm like, "No worries. Yeah. I don't want to do it again."
Yeah, for sure. But coming from that world, and I found microdosing several years after getting out. But that's how I got into it too, was microdosing, and then the guy I was getting it from just stopped having it. And I was like, shit, like this is really helping me in a lot of ways. And so then, I dove into starting to learn to grow, and also started with all-in-one bags. But dude, I'm totally blown away that. So correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounded like you said you started like 3 years ago. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, 2023, January, February.
Huge leaps in 3 years.
26.
That's awesome. So you dove in head first. You dove in head first into the deep end and really went for it. I love that. That's awesome. With your
I felt comfortable with it. Anything I kind of jump into, hobbies, which this is the longest hobby I've ever had. I do a lot of reading, research, make sure I'm like mentally prepared, ready for it to pull the trigger. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So in the beginning, with your experience, you said you kind of stuck with the all-in-ones for about a year. So you started them in all-in-ones, and then you cut the top off, put them in a tub type thing.
I cut the whole block out.
Oh yeah, okay.
360 fruit.
Yeah, I'm like, I think the idea was to get it to fruit from all sides and the top. Like they would go Super Saiyan with all the pins and whatnot.
Yeah. So what was your success rate, would you say, with all-in-one bags? That's something that I've seen. I experienced myself using all-in-one bags. Definitely it's one of those things. It's like, it's the least daunting way, I think, to get into growing them. Maybe not the most effective, but the least daunting. So a lot of times that's how brand new growers start out. But I had issues with them working out. Like my success rate with AIOs were pretty low. What was your experience with them?
So the way I was doing them, I would say 95% of the time they were working out pretty good. It wasn't until maybe a year and a half when I started meeting people in the community and getting on Discords and whatnot. It was in the Groovy guys, Cosmic Myco and Uber, their server. And I was like, oh, I guess we're supposed to leave them in the bag type thing and fruit them in the bag. So I would leave them in there, not alter it, nothing. And my success rate dropped tremendously. Like I was having to toss them, nothing was happening. Yeah. So I do know fruiting in bags, aside from all-in-ones, is a lot slower than in the tubs and whatnot. I just didn't have the flow hood, a sterile environment, anything like that. So I got them all colonized, ready, so they're less able to get contaminated, as I moved them into the other tub.
Yeah. What was it that kind of got you to shift from that process to something else? You're not doing, I guess I'm assuming that, but you're not doing the all-in-one so much anymore. You're doing something else. What kind of shifted that process, and how did you evolve from that to the next thing to the next thing?
So when I was doing that first year and just the all-in-one bags, taking them out, I was shopping online pretty much that towards that, like middle of the year, towards the end of that first year, I founded myco bags. They worked pretty good. And then the myco, they also sold LCs and sports syringes on like a sister site or something. They didn't sell them together on the same thing. So I was using those for a bit, and I discovered spore swaps. Came across Moon Daddy, bought some of his stuff, some stuff from other people, and just Moon stuff. Just it performed so much better than everything else that I was getting from those other websites, and that's what got me into Reddit, which I was rescued from Reddit from Groovy Guys, and then Moon Daddy's first server. And then I got to see what everyone there was doing, and I was like, holy smokes, there's so much more than B+, JMF, Golden Teacher. It was Hellhound, the first one I got of his, that just blew my mind. But I think the shift came from seeing all that stuff in the Discord channels and talking with those folks. I was like, okay, you can do so much more than just these little bags. You can do the tubs, Tupperwares, any kind of stuff, really. So that's I think that's what shifted me, is being able to see what else is out there to grow.
Right. I think that's a common thing for a lot of guys. You get into these communities, have a small idea of what it is, and then you get into one of these Discord communities, and luckily there's so many great ones. You know, I landed here in PT, and just from the very beginning, it was a lot of help, and between PT and some other servers, I've just had so many people been able to help with the process, and just like you said, show other things and see how to do stuff other ways, and play around with things. So what is it that your kind of go-to is now? Like your process?
My go-to?
Yeah. So are you doing bags,
like from
or
spore to? I'm doing both, actually. As I turn around, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bags, and then about the same amount of 6-quart tubs laying around.
Is it just kind of like a
yeah?
Because I've been messing around with trying to figure out how to do the bag thing and get them to go in bags right. I've gotten the tub thing going pretty okay. Yeah. What's kind of your deciding factor of, I'm going to run this in a bag, I'm going to run this in a tub? Is it space, or is it like per genetic? Like some things are better in a bag, or how do you decide?
So, for me, it's not so much about space, really. It's more about, now I'll rewind a little bit. So I got back into spawning into bags maybe about 5-6 months ago. So a lot of the cultures I've been working on and some of the processes I've done were primarily done in 6-quart tubs. I just kept progressing in tubs, whether that be from spore or a clone. But I wanted to see how the stuff I've been working on, these crosses, will not perform in bags. So at first, it was kind of annoying. I'd get the sweaty bags, and the fruits would hit the side of the bag, and then they'd start rotting because they were wet and they were upset getting smashed. So that's obviously what we don't want. If someone gets a culture and all their fruits are rotting, all the ones that are on the outside of the bag, that's not good. So I want to get it to where they're used to being grown in bags as well, not just tubs, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I have noticed, like, the bags are maybe a few weeks slower than the tubs as far as once like pinning starts. But the just the sheer amount of fruit you get from a bag versus a 6-quart tub is a lot more.
Is that
when
because
it's a
you're
good
running more
grow? That is, I don't know. It could be the high CO2. I don't know what causes them to have larger fruits inside a bag versus a tub.
Fruits are larger. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking
that's
like
one thing I've noticed also.
I'm wondering if maybe it has to do with your the amount of substrate or the amount of spawn you're using in a bag versus a 6-quart. Because I know for me, 6-quart tubs, I do like a pound roughly of spawn. And then bags is normally probably double that.
So with the bags, I try and keep it a 1-to-1 because I don't know the size number off the top of my head, but just looking at one bag right now, it's half pound spawn, half pound sub. So it's a 1 pound cake that's throwing giant fruits. It's insane. Actually, it's blowing my mind. But at most, my bags are maybe 2 pounds, 3 pounds tops.
Gotcha. So you're not running those. You're not running those big giant XLS bags, then?
I have in the past. Yeah, just not right now.
Gotcha.
No.
Well, yeah, I'm just curious because it seems
I'll run
like
15 quarts and then up to a 20 quart on tubs, depending on if it's a land race and I want it to stretch its legs, and just dump spores all over. I'll use the 20 quart gasket tub that I've modified a bit.
How do you modify your tubs?
So the 6 quarts and the 15 quarts, those are left alone. But the 18, 20, I don't remember exactly what it is, 18 or 20 quart gasket ones, I got a couple holes on the sides, each long side, maybe 2-3 inches above where the substrate would be, and then on the long ends, just one hole up higher. That's it.
And how big are you making those holes? I've seen people doing like small holes down towards the substrate line, some doing bigger holes.
They're about the same size. Maybe that's a 1/2 inch.
Okay.
A 1/2 inch hole. And then I'll put the micropore tape over it and then poke holes in that if I need to. Remove the gasket if I need to.
Right. Nice. So one thing I've seen, so I know you do all of it and kill all of it. I'm wondering in your process, like when you started to go from working with cubes to working with exotics, your pans and all that stuff. When did you start doing that? And I guess what brought that?
I probably started attempting the pans a couple years ago, not knowing a whole lot still. I thought I knew enough. I'd say about 2 years ago, and I wanted to throw in the towel so many times and just quit. Luckily, we got some great people in the community to support each other. At the beginning, I was inoculating all in one bag with TTBVI. Obviously, it wasn't working out for me. Not saying that can't work out, because sure, it definitely can. But it was a lot of wasting grain spawn, substrate, months, money on various little gadgets and whatnot to make the Dreamer tub style thing. It took about a year and a half to finally kind of slow down with it. Don't rush. For example, you get some spores, you streak the plate, you're like, oh, cool, growth, let's move it along. You let that transfer grow out, even though it has irregular growth all over the place, meaning it has multiple colonies in there, you still throw it in there anyways, because you just want to hurry and get it to fruit, you know. But I just learned to kind of slow down, go with good symmetrical growth, which can be hard a lot, especially with the exotics, because most of the time the plates look horrendous and you wouldn't think to send anything like that. But lately I've gone to trust my nose. Like last night I tossed 2 grain bags of pans. They just didn't smell right. The first indicator was they looked kind of funny, but I've spawned funny looking mycelium grain spawn before, and it worked out just fine. So I just go with my nose now on the grain spawn.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a tough process. Yeah, your nose definitely is. Some grain spawn, different exotics have different smells to it also. I remember one of the zaps I was working with, it smelled like almonds, the grain spawn, when you're spawning it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But it's not like is it enough of a smell that like kind of throw you off? I mean, obviously it smells different, but is it? Because
the bad ones,
things I look for
they're like sour smell, yeast
or sour.
Yeah, a yeast smell or something that'll burn your nose hairs. That's definitely one you don't want to send.
Right.
But yeah,
one thing
I've lately resorted to the tent that I've got now.
Okay.
I guess that's a lie because I just busted out my old dreamer tub for this New Zealand zap. I'll try in there instead of the tent.
So you mentioned, trusting your nose with spawn and slowing down. What are some other things like advice for? Because myself included, there are a bunch of people out there that I've seen getting into starting to try to grow pans and other exotics. What are some things that through your process of figuring it out, what are some things that you could advise, to stay away from or try to do to help maybe mitigate some errors that are likely to be made?
Aside from just patience, it's hard to answer that with a definitive answer, whereas everyone's environments are different where they're growing in. For example, where my tent here works for me, the way I have it set up might not work for someone that is just starting and wanting to get into a tent setup or something like that.
Right.
But just asking questions, because there's so many people within this community that will give straight, no BS answers and give you straight up honest opinion of what your setup is. But ask questions. There's a lot of people in the community that are willing to help. And also, genetics are huge. Where you get those from, wherever you're sourcing them with the exotics, is very important as well. And after so many failures of pancyans in the very beginning, until finding some good, really solid cultures, that's when I realized, and what I wish I would have known before at the beginning, is where you get your spores even, or liquid cultures, is very important as well. And that's something, I don't know if this is kind of a tangent or anything, with a lot of this Australian genetics are being sent over and whatnot. We're really starting to take our time, make sure they come out the gate like really strong and flushing well for everybody. So they're not acting like a wild spore when you first get it, and it's a pain and you gotta clean up and stuff like that. So where you get your genetics, is important as well.
Yeah,
asking questions, but failing at the same time. I think one of the best ways to learn and learn things in life, especially if you're independent, is to fail with things.
100%.
Learn a lot from it. I've done things on purpose just to see what happens. Like, oh, let's take the grain bags out of the PC in the kitchen and fill them up. Yeah, that didn't work out too well. But yeah, making mistakes is also good.
Yeah, I totally agree there. I think we've talked about that with a couple other people as well. That seems to be a pretty unanimous thing. Mistakes teach us a lot. And then, like you said, the community, all these servers and whatnot that people are involved in helps with even that. Like we make mistakes, share those mistakes, and then people can weigh in like, oh, you did this, or oh, maybe you should have done it this way next time, or whatever.
Yeah. And there's no rush. There's no rush to get the next hottest thing, because I've been there. A lot of people have been there. You can get overwhelmed really quick, especially if you're running exotics, pan specifically, because you can go from spore, hit the grain within a week and a half, 2 weeks, spawn a week and a half, week after that, case it 5 days after, and then a week later you're harvesting. They come quicker, so don't overwhelm yourself. There's no rush.
That's fair. One thing that I really appreciate about something you do, I've seen you doing and posting and sharing, and I want to hear your thoughts on it and maybe kind of more why you do it, is testing. You grow things out, you go get it, like you send it in for lab testing and share that information with the community. I think that's huge, super important, and very appreciated. Why is it that you do that?
I like to do it because I've had family members, friends that have had exotic before, and stuff was misdosed, and things can go bad if you don't know what you got and what's in it. That's just one little thing. Another thing is that, to me and what I'm doing and my close knit friends, family here, I see all of this as medicine, and I'm very intrigued to several of the alkaloids that are in these mushrooms. One of them, baeocystin specifically, but there's others that are very helpful for the microdosing. One mushroom might not work very well, whereas, I don't know, let's just throw out okra, for example, is a great one for microdosing. With cubes, for example, one might not work out well, whereas I know steel mag is one that's really great for microdosing. So knowing
what separates them and those alkaloids, educate us on that, because that's something very interesting and important, I think.
Like what the various different alkaloids are.
Yeah, like in the mushrooms, the importance of them. Yeah, so you're talking about baeocystin, yeah.
I'm probably saying it wrong myself. So I'm not a chemist or super knowledgeable as tryptomics per se, but I know within the mycelium or the mushroom's life cycle, there's like 4 steps into their alkaloid production. I don't want to even guess, because I'll probably say it wrong, which one starts the whole process to get it going. But with what's happening in the U.S. and all over the world, I don't know if we're going to call it like a psychedelic renaissance or something, but where it's being more seen as medicine, I would like to see chemists or scientists, biologists, however it's done, to be able to know how to pinpoint these specific alkaloids and the ones that are very beneficial. I know the 5-HTP one, that serotonin one is really helpful for people. Just to be able to separate each one of those and create some kind of medicine, or I don't know, be able to grow a mushroom but alter its DNA somehow to have specific amounts. I don't think that'll ever happen, but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get you.
It's definitely interesting where it's going.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
and I think there's a lot of testing to be done on the alkaloid side of it. But interestingly, do you think it's to do with potency on the microdosing side as well? So like you were saying with the still mags, or I know with the nuts, they've got a lower body load. So they're a lot nicer to microdose on the higher end of it because of the potency.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm sure that the psilocin and the psilocybin alkaloids have something to do with the microdosing. Definitely, it will let you know if you've taken too much.
Oh, definitely. Been there.
That happened trying to microdose a certain pan, just going up to 100 milligrams. I was like, okay, this is not microdose anymore.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a trip or anything, but I could definitely feel it. It was uncomfortable for about half an hour.
One thing about microdoses that I think is, I don't know, important to understand for people, and not everyone fully gets it, is that they're not, you don't feel a microdose.
Yeah, you're not supposed to feel it.
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
So
you're not
the way
supposed to feel
like
that.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're good.
Oh, I was going to say what I like to tell people is that it's all, a microdose should be all sub-perceptual. Like, for example, you have a headache and you take a Tylenol or an Advil or whatever, and eventually, if it works, you took enough, the headache will go away, right? When did that go away? You don't know.
You don't remember.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it just happens. And that's kind of how I explain what a true microdose is.
That's a great way to explain it.
Should feel nothing, no colors or anything should stand out, nothing like that.
Yeah, one way that I explain it to people, because it's a way that I experience it, is with a proper microdose, you don't have that like light feeling or the colors or stuff like that. But when you just have, like, without a microdose, sometimes you have just like a good day, and like in the middle of the day, you're just like, man, I feel like today's a good day. Like, I'm having a great day. That's that kind of sub-perceptual feeling that I get when I microdose. I just a lot of days I'll feel like, I just feel like I'm having a good day. Like, I can't be knocked off my stride, and all the little shit that would generally frustrate me or stress me out and what have you, just kind of, it's no big
rolls
deal.
off your back. Yeah.
So is that something you still microdose?
I actually ran out. I had to recapsule some, but not a whole lot. It's like when I feel like I need to, or I'm leading up to stressful events or something, or I know something's coming up and I want to be ready. I don't know. I'd probably microdose for at least 3 weeks every few months, something like that.
Okay. So you take pretty long breaks in between.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to do it, because you can actually reflect back over the difference between microdosing and not, because you've got a longer span to be able to look back at. So taking a good sort of like month or two off of it. And I noticed that my wife will even say to me, do you think it's time to microdose for a bit, or do you think it's time for that? Or even she can recognize.
That's a hint.
That just feels like, well, it is obviously doing something. It's just that recognition.
Yeah.
You're putting the work in.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm sure you guys know, and everyone else in here, we get a lot of relief, or whatever we want to call it, just from being in the same room that they are, almost day to day, or working with them. We get those same benefits as if we did a hero dose, even with that afterglow. Kind of get that afterglow without having to do the consumption thing, just from a harvest. For like my first pan cross, the Yun guy with Komodo BVI, I ran 4 trays of that with different cuts of the agar, and once they all started fruiting, and after the first harvest, I was on cloud 9 for like 2 months.
That's awesome.
It becomes the medicine in the end without actually taking the medicine.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever done a harvest of just a great grow that you were so excited about, and you harvest it, you get your pictures, whatever, you're done, and then you just hit a brick wall and you're completely exhausted. And I contribute that to like a very successful grow connection with that specific culture. And then all that adrenaline after that harvest is just gone. And then you just crash for like, just take a nap after. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I love that take.
It gets that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. You're talking about like kind of the for lack of a better word, the high that we get from the benefit that we get from the process and growing.
Yeah.
And it's something that is very real. I think with things, when you have like success, something that you like really want to do, you're talking about your first panned cross, even little things, not necessarily getting all the way to the end with a harvest, but little things like, for me, I had a huge high last night from, I've been working on trying to isolate monos, and, I got some stuff done. I moved some early germination growth and what have you, and got some stuff on plates, and was staring at mycelium for hours last night and could not find clamps. And it was just like, I'm so hyped that I have got some monos. It's freaking awesome to me. I love that.
Isn't it awesome doing that?
Yeah, the whole process is I don't know. Like Platy said, like that's become the medicine. I also microdose, and I'll do doses other times, but yeah, the process is super helpful and cool.
Yeah. I remember my first ever, like I got the liquid culture. This is Paha Crown. I got the liquid culture, the kit. I grew it. It fruited. It was awesome. I got some spores. I learned what to do with that, and just watch your first ever spore you collect the spores from your grow. You run it. You fruit it again. Watching that whole process for your first time is also super cool. And it doesn't get old. It's still really cool.
Yeah. Kind of back to microdosing here. We have a question in the chat. Serific Myco asks, How does microdosing daily fare with tolerance levels? Say if you wanted to blast off one weekend, but you've been microdosing, is it feasible or will it be foobar?
I wouldn't say it's foobar, but before your planned big trip, I would stop microdosing at least a week in advance. I don't know. That's just what I've done. I've never microdosed leading up to one before, and if there was a difference, or thinking back, oh, I should have had more. I've never had that, but I think it will affect if you plan for 4 grams and you've been microdosing, let's say 200 milligrams, 4 days out of the week, leading up to it for a month, 2 months. You might need a little bit more than 4 grams. I think it does affect it as far as tolerance, even the microdosing.
Yeah. I personally, for me, maybe it does affect that tolerance, but I do continue my microdose Monday through Friday, and generally 20 to 25 milligrams. And when I do macrodose, I don't like not do it for a week. I do continue micros, but at the same time, like I've had doses. I recently took I took just under 3 grams of Enigma for a macro, and it was great. It was awesome. I loved it. But it wasn't like the potency that everybody talks about with Enigma, and it could just be my grow. Clearly, it could just be that, but it also could be because of microdosing.
I think it just told.
Yeah, and everyone's different too.
Right.
Yeah, I've just read and have heard if you're going to do a big dose and if you're microdosing to at least stop like a week, 2 weeks before. But everyone responds differently to it. Like one of my good friends, his wife will have like a super hard trip off of 500 milligram random cube.
Yeah, my wife's a bit like that.
That's mine as well. I've got friends like that too. I remember my first tubs. I had grown Adam's apple, which is a Shakti and flipper cross, and that's from Shroomin. But grew those, and I gave 50 milligrams to a friend, just like a midday, I don't know. I didn't think it was going to be insane, and accidentally sent him to another universe. I felt so bad, but on half a gram, he was like
50 milligrams.
Yeah, half a gram. He was absolutely gone. That's 50 milligrams, right? Half a gram. Or am I saying that wrong?
Of psilocin?
No,
or you
the
dry weight?
Yeah,
ground
dry
mushroom. Weight. So 500 milligrams, I think.
500 milligrams. Whatever it is, half a gram.
I think is that half gram.
I'm probably saying that wrong.
I sucked in math.
That's the but I don't know. Those smaller doses can definitely, it was just like to what you were saying. It's different for everybody.
Yeah.
Dude, so you've always got a ton of stuff going on. Always got a bunch of projects, and I've seen all this stuff come over from Sporeworks. A bunch of you guys got. What are some things that you have in the works right now?
Yeah, I've been dying to ask that.
So right now, about a month ago, I started slowing down my current projects, slowing down and ending them for which I've already started. got a bunch of Aussie genetics from Only Spores and Spore Exchange just recently the other day. And I'm kind of shifting focus into the Australian cubes and more of these pans, and then diving into the Papuana and the Samoensis. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But yeah, working on a lot of these Australian wilds. I've seen some crazy stuff on Instagram. I forgot who it was. I think it was Gothic Ripper with the super fat wobbly boots, which is a Australian land race.
Gothic.
Yeah,
Gothic
it's insane.
Trip.
We'd love to see more. Yeah, I don't know if that was him or not for sure.
Oh.
But it's going to be insane to see what these Australian wild cubensis bring to the whole scene. Not only as far as whatever pheno expression they have to offer, like the super fat, squatty, wobbly boot that this guy got. Not just what they have to offer in that aspect as far as all their expressions, but also whatever they bring to the table with their alkaloid contents. I know one of them, Wobbly Boots one, there's a few of these cubes that we've been growing for a while, and like we need to get these sequenced, this, that, and the other, because they pretty much look and grow and act just like an okra would.
Interesting.
So yeah, kind of shifting focus to the Australian wild mushrooms. A lot of awesome stuff coming out of there lately. It's very powerful mushrooms, also very special ones being found.
Yeah, for sure. Is that something that you're trying to with cubes? One thing that I've talked to a couple people about now is like trying to kind of cross back those landrace genetics into, stuff that's been worked a ton. Is that something that you're kind of trying to do with these as well?
Yeah. Yep. I'd love to start using those with, I don't know, let's say Toke F8, for example. I don't know if everyone might know the nerd, like the blob mutant, Toke F8. I got that on grain. Pretty sure it's on grain. Yep, there it is. I'm super interested to see what this wild cubensis does with Toke F8.
So you have it with
it'll make it resemble a mushroom.
So you did a daimon.
Do I have what?
Then. I'm sorry. You did. So you did a daimon.
I did a daimon on that one
with the Toke nerds and a and a wild.
Yeah.
Which wild did you use?
Yeah. One from Only Spores.
Okay.
I haven't actually fruited it out yet, but it will be fruited soon. There's little pins in there.
Nice.
On that
one.
I'm
excited to.
I've seen it on plates. It pins a lot on plates. I don't know if you've seen some of the Instagram ones with the Australian wilds just pinning on plates right out of the gate. It's insane.
Yeah, they're crazy. I did grow.
But yeah, that was a daimon.
That's cool. What's your
process for that? How do you find your mons?
So there's a lot of different ways to be getting mons. I like doing the, whether it's a grab and drag or just a normal streak. Either way is fine. Streak a plate, first little visible sign of any growth, I'll snag that, and then I'll move it to another plate, and then I'll let that grow for a couple days, enough days to where I'm able to snag a little piece for a slide and a transfer. So I'll take a transfer first and then a little piece for a slide. And I take the transfer just in case there's no clamps. And and then I'll scope the one, check it out. There's no clamps. That transfer I did, still good to move on. And then I'll do that one more time. Take a transfer, one more cut for the slide to scope. And if no clamps, I move on and I call it good at that point. I like to do the 2-time verifying with the scope. But yes, there's times where I haven't even scoped it at all. Like you just, after doing it for quite a while, you just know what a mon looks like.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you confirm by scope, or can you just see it? Like obviously we've spoken to some of the other guys where you can just see the difference.
Yeah, I'll do both. It's all on how much time I got during the week. If I got time to sit at the scope for an hour, 2 hours. So I can get lost doing that. It is fascinating. It's like a whole other world on the slide. But I know you can't see it, but I got a spore plate with the wild cube here that had a perfect symmetrical fluffy tomatose growth on there. No other germination spot in sight. And I was like, and I was doing transfers from other ones for other plates. And I skipped this one because I was like, I don't want to waste my time and put them on to grain and nothing happened, when you spawn it.
Yeah.
So I waited for more germination on that plate to happen and let them touch, do whatever. And then I'll do a transfer. I've accidentally done that in the past. Like I've had a perfect tub. This was Minami, Okinawa. That awesome cake, looked great. Sat for months, 2 months. I think 2 month marks when I called it. Yeah, that's my process with the Mons. Verifying a couple times or just going off how it looks.
So why is it that you...
With Dyke.
Sorry. Why is it that you like to do your transfer? So you transfer your initial beginning of your germination point, and then you let it grow a couple days, and then you transfer again, and then you transfer again. What are those other 2 transfers' purpose?
That last transfer, if it's clamped clean, I guess is not necessary. But the first one is so I can verify a second time. That was it.
Gotcha.
Like bust out the scope again.
And then with something that you're working on, how many times would you grow that out and return it to spore before sort of start? Like obviously pictures of it, getting it out to everybody, doing how much of that growing goes on before. I'm just trying to get out like how much work you're putting into it. Does that make sense? So that everyone can hear the work that goes on behind the scenes.
So, for example, this is one of my first crosses, the albino JMF and Bifrost. I had started that about a year and a half ago. And I had just, I don't know if we want to say release or whatever. I just offered it up maybe 5 months ago to a small group in Discord to see how it would grow there. So I like to do a lot of the work. I like to see it perform in bags. I want to see it perform in tubs. I want to see how this growth does compared to this growth on the plate. So I'll have simultaneous ether crown, for example, going at the same time, just based off of the different type of growth on the plate, or if it's in a bag or a tub, or if it's from spore or from a clone. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's awesome though. Like you get to see your little creation and you get to watch it progress filially, if that's the right word, filially through spores, or from culture or cloning. Yeah. Yeah, it's a long process.
That's yeah.
And then you're like, oh, that's cool. I like this one. Let's do this one. So if you have bad ADHD like I do, you're going to be all over the place. Like, I want to do this. I want to grow this one now. Oh, I like this clone. I like this one too. Let's grow it all.
Yeah, it's hard to find something you want to stick with. And
I could totally see that.
Always comes up and loses the focus.
Yeah.
How do you?
And that's why this was about close to a year ago now, maybe 10 months ago. I had shifted from 1 pound to 3 pound grain spawn all the way to half-pound grain spawn bags, and that's it. I do have some 1 pound, but I won't go more than that. It's a quick turnaround on all these projects is the reason why I do that.
That's smart. I was going to ask a second ago, how do you, with all those different things and so many different plates and, you're pulling different growths from the same cultures and all that, what is your process, or how do you label and keep track of all that kind of stuff? It's got to be like hieroglyphics.
Yeah, a lot of it is that, and writing on the plate, trying to fit it all in on a little label thing. But for example, I have a tub of whatever, and it's the first flush, and I harvest it, and I collect spores and a clone or two. So I'd label it. What do I got right here? I don't know, Yungai. So I name it Yungai FL for flush, and then 1, and then CL 1 or 2 for clone, and then the date, and that's about it. And then with spores, I just kind of put the name and then like April 2026, something like that. I'm not as meticulous with the spore as I am a clone or something being moved along a plate.
And do you journal everything or write everything down, or is it all in your head and you're just working your way through your list?
I have a little notebook, but I don't write a whole lot in there unless I'm putting stuff in the little tiny water storage thingies. But I have a pretty large marker board in here, and like on the left side, I have at the top on grain, and then a side for cubes and an exotic side, and then to the next of that, I'll write spawned, and then a cube column and exotic column. And then on the spawn side, I'll write the actual date I spawned and the ratio. But when I've got left agar on grain, I don't. What's that?
Yeah, I'm the same. I've got a whiteboard. I was being called out for being old the other day in the server because I've got a whiteboard.
It's not a chalkboard. You're good. It's not a blackboard, so you're all right.
If it was a chalkboard, I'd be. If it was a chalkboard, I'd be hitting the eraser things together and smelling at the chalk. I used to do that as a kid.
I'm curious,
but
Hyphal,
yeah, if I could have a lab coat and one of those nerd pens, and I already have to wear reading glasses when I do agar work.
I'm curious with your like clones and stuff like that, and keeping track of all this info with different projects you have going on. Do you just like remember? So say you're kind of chasing a pheno for something or specific things. Do you have like photos, or do you just remember? I could just imagine like losing track of whatever note I wrote down, what it was that it looked like.
When was the last time you saw my Instagram? I take a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
Too many pictures, honestly.
I didn't even think of that. So you reference your Instagram.
But no, my Google Drive. I was just getting at. I take a lot of pictures. I've probably, like in subsequent flushes with pans, I've probably caused contamination because I have it sitting out for over an hour, harvesting and taking pictures, one fruit at a time. But yeah, I store all that on my Google Drive with all the folders and whatnot. But if, for example, this Ether Crown bag right here, I have white gill clone written on it. And then I have the date the grain was inoculated, the break and shake date, the spawn date, and the ratio and what sub I used. I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. What was the question again?
So we're talking about keeping track of like their pheno, like what you're looking at.
Okay. I remember now. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, what does that white gill clone that I clone look like? So I'll just go into my Google Drive. I'll go into my crosses folder and I'll look for this specific one. And then I'll look for the grow that this specific clone came from. It's pretty easy to find that way, but I'll go in there and like, oh, okay, that's what it looked like. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Totally. That's exactly what I was
pictures.
I use my phone.
Pictures is great.
As my memory.
Yeah.
If someone says, when did you do this, I have to scroll back through photos to even.
Yeah.
I can remember doing it, but like you said, I take photos of absolutely everything. When I'm harvesting, when I'm spawning, when I'm inoculating, absolutely everything.
Yeah, and when I'm cloning, I'll put the fruit next to the plate and then take a picture. That way I know that that's the one I cloned because it's sitting next to the plate.
Gotcha.
Or it's already cut in half and the piece is out. Man, I remember my first clone ever. And I was told, you're not supposed to do that. You just tear it apart. Like I got a knife, I cleaned the knife, I sliced it down the stipe and was very careful cutting a piece out. Nowadays, it's like you just tear it open. You go to town and I just throw it on agar.
Oh yeah. One thing you mentioned your Instagram and like all the photos you take. I will say, as far as the myco community on Instagram, you got some of the best like videos and clips and stuff that you put together are always sick.
Oh, thanks. I don't know if you've seen or know of Mushy Mile. He actually lives about an hour north of me. He got me on that kind of stuff. So if you don't follow him, he's got really cool videos. And I was like, how is he doing all that? Like his flow hood in his videos has pictures on it and it's moving like you're on a trip or something. And I guess he uses Adobe Pro or something, some Adobe software to have it look like his flow hood is a TV screen. It's super cool. Yeah, he's really smart with marketing and software, computer stuff. But yeah, they're a lot of fun. The shorter videos is kind of like an automated thing. You just throw in your pictures and it does it for you. But the longer ones take quite a bit of time on editing.
One thing
like
for me, whenever
a minute or so.
Whenever I'm making a video, I don't think they're up to your level, but whenever I'm making little videos of stuff, I always take forever to find the song that I want to use, even though like I'm sure nobody really cares.
Yep.
But man, why is it so hard to pick a song for a reel?
I don't know. I'm right there with you. Like I've done a harvest. I've done like I got the recording done and the pictures ready, and I'm like a week past still waiting for that song. That's happened to me too. Now that you mention it.
That's funny. So one thing that I wanted to make sure we got to do, because I've kind of been not so great about it and want to fix that, as far as with past podcasts. But one thing I wanted to give you the opportunity to like, where can people get your stuff? Where can people, shoot your Instagram handle, where they can purchase your stuff, and that kind of thing so that we can show you some love and show you some support.
Okay, like in the chat or something.
Well, yeah, and share just audio, because we do put this stuff on as a podcast, so people will listen to it later.
Oh yeah, duh. So I have stuff on the Culture Cave right now. And the Instagram, I want to say there's a 3 at the end because it's my third one. This one has survived the longest. Yeah, Hyphal_Mind_3. I'm trying to do a test. Yeah. I got that blue little marker thing in hopes, I'll be like, maybe Instagram will leave me alone if I have this little blue marker and pay for it. But so far, I've been left alone, knock on wood. But other people that have had that blue thing, like, no, man, someone will still report you.
Awesome. And so Culture Cave is culturecave.com, right? And then you can find, or what is it?
It's kind of a weird thing. I don't know if you can do search it that way. I don't know if we can do a Google search yet on it. I know they put it on Google not too long ago, but it takes a couple weeks or something like that.
Culturecave.store, Charlie Monster.
Yeah, store. That's it. Yeah,
culturecave.store, and then on there you can find your store.
Yeah,
definitely you guys should check out his Instagram. Dope videos, all this cool stuff.
Right now I only have spores on there. I have 6 LC placeholders on there. I'm just waiting to be done testing. Like, I want to, instead of just testing on agar, I'm going through the whole thing, fruiting it.
Fair. That's everything. Appreciate
so
it.
There'll be some LC on there. I know most people would kind of prefer LCs or multi-spore syringes versus just straight up spore. So I know when I first started, I wouldn't know what to do with the spore. No hood, no clean area to do anything,
Well, dude, we appreciate you. Yeah, one thing I like to ask everybody is kind of something that's kind of stuck. What is something that you started out with that you used to like really believe in doing in the cultivation process that you no longer find necessary, or you kind of changed your mind on, shifted on?
This is something I was thinking about just with the past couple weeks that I don't do anymore. This is specifically agar work, doing transfers, whatnot. I would spritz my plate with hydrogen peroxide, just one spritz, before every single transfer I did. Every single time, without fail, I'd spritz my plate with hydrogen peroxide before moving something over. Did it hurt? No. Did it help anything? No. Maybe. I don't know. But that's something that I used to do a lot that I don't do anymore, really. I know that's probably weird.
No, that's it's actually, I've heard
should we be doing it? I don't know.
I've heard a lot of people say that you should be doing it like with spore work, and like.
Oh, that's one thing that is was a big no for me, and I never did. I understand the logic behind it. Trying to find the strongest spores, the ones that survive and bounce back, but I just never got into doing it with spores at all. I like to give them all a chance.
I've got one final question. What's some advice that you'd give to anybody starting out now? Like any new beginners that are coming up, what's a bit of advice that you wish somebody had told you?
If someone told me this, I probably would have ignored it. But it's the whole Pokemon thing. You got to collect them all. Like for the longest time, I was on the I got to collect every single land race there is just to have them, you know. And I've heard people they just collect spore prints and they have them in like a trapper keeper or something. They just collect them. This is what they do. But you don't have to collect them all. You'll get whatever comes to you is meant to be, and it'll come to you. But you don't need to wrap your head around or waste a whole lot of time searching for all the cultures and having them all. I guess that would be something. You just get overwhelmed way too quick when you're trying to run them all out. So
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. You do see people just chasing them.
Yeah. And on a more better note, some like tips or something. If someone has the space, I even if it's a makeshift flow hood, you know, the Broke Boy thing where I made one, the box fan with the filter in the front and the filter in the back type thing. They work. If you're all in and this is something you're passionate about, I highly recommend getting into agar and working from spore and things like that. Once I got that flow hood and the pressure cooker, that's when things kind of exploded. Like, oh, I can make everything myself now.
That's when it starts to make sense.
So, so definitely makes more sense when you get it all. And when you're making your own agar, your own substrates, which I hate. That's the one thing I do not like doing, is making substrate now. Everything else is great. Once you start doing all that stuff on your own, it's awesome. Such a money saver too. I was buying sub and grain for about a year and a half.
Yeah, that can add up. Well, dude, man, super appreciate you. I think this has been a great talk.
It's been awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much. I'd love to maybe set up another one sometime down in the future. And we'll keep an eye out for that new cross you're working on with the what did you say it was again? Nerds and Australian.
And a cube from Tweed Valley. Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Calling this one LC.
Say that again. You cut out.
LC.
Nice.
I'm calling the Tweed. Geographically, it's from Tweed Valley in Australia. So call it LC Tweed.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with this. The plate's already got some pins on it, which is cool.
Yeah, it's great. Great news. Good look. All right, brother. Well, again, we appreciate you. We'll have to do it again soon.
Yeah, thanks.
And we'll keep an eye out for you. Keep watching what you're doing.
I will keep watching what I'm doing. Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Take it easy. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks. Have a good one, everybody. Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for joining. And till next time.